Osrc News at 7. Ondo judiciary workers suspend industrial action following Governor Ayedatiwa's intervention. Over 100,000 Ondo State inhabitants access Orange Health Insurance Scheme 6 years after takeoff. Kaduna Police Command guns down suspected robbers in state capital. And from the foreign scene, South African judge holds burial of former Zambian president. Good evening and welcome to the news at 7. I am Obi Chukwemeka Otsi. We begin tonight with the judiciary arm of government. Leadership of the Judiciary Staff Union of Nigeria, JUSUN, in Ondo State has suspended the industrial action embarked on by judiciary workers in the last 3 weeks. This followed discussions with Governor Lucky Aiyedatiwa, who directed the formation of a committee led by Commissioner for Finance, Omowumi Isaac, including union leaders and government officials, to develop modalities for the release of funds to the judiciary. The governor had earlier met with leaders of JUSUN to address issues that led to the strike. The industrial action began on the 13th of June, sequel to the directives of JUSUN led by the chairman in the state, Oluwafemi Afolabi. As part of the sweeping reforms to repositioning judiciary and strengthening security architecture, Ondo State is set to impose stiffer penalties for certain offences in the state. Attorney General and Commissioner for Justice Dr. Kayode Ajilo, SAN, who disclosed this, also said a tracking and
sweeping reforms, including stiffer penalties for kidnapping and related crimes. At the heart of these reforms is a proposal to impose the death penalty. We are kidnapping Governor Lucky Aiyedatiwa's commitment to repositioning the judiciary and strengthening the state's legal infrastructure. In addition to sentencing reforms, the law now empowers the state to deal with legal process.
Courtesan has to do with some parental guidance or what. You find out that some of them may have something to do in this law. So, and that one necessitated that we have to redeem the law. Even the penalty, it had most of these kidnappings. Also, it has some homicide element in where some of those are kidnapped. Then the right thing should be done. I mean, that must be so that necessitated the issue of death sentence by hanging. And I think there must be a law to serve as a deterrent in part, particularly when you have been weighed.
Legal resources and reducing delays in courtrooms is in the pipeline. Ajilo described these initiatives part of a broader transformation agenda that has already recorded notable milestones under the Aiyedatiwa administration.
We have a government in Ondo State that really places premium on the life of a citizen, places premium on the peace and stability and security of the state. And those are the measures. And we have so more other measures. Unfortunately, that one seems to be the one that is newsworthy, or I can know that is quite alarming that should go on. The essence is you need to know how day in, day out, what the government of the day, particularly the governor of the state, has been doing to ensure that we sleep with our eyes closed, we sleep without any security issues.
On Judiciary Staff Union of Nigeria JUSUN strike, Dr. Ajilo dismissed allegations of government insincerity, clarifying that the state has sought judicial interpretation over ambiguities in the financial autonomy judgment, while legal clarification is being pursued in court. He reiterated the government's willingness to engage in dialogue and support the judiciary's return to full operations. With the both steps in sight, Ondo State appears poised to deliver a more responsive, secure, and technology-driven justice system for its people.
From the judiciary to health, over 103,000 residents of Ondo State, including public servants and their dependents, now have access to healthcare services under the Orange Health Insurance Scheme. According to the Director General of the Commission, Abiodun Oyeneyin, at a press conference in Akure, more than 55,000 beneficiaries, including pregnant women and children under 5, have been served through the Abiyamo Maternal and Child Health Scheme over the past 6 years. Blessing Obe reports.
Established in 2020, the Ondo State Contributory Health Commission was designed to bridge the gap in access to affordable health care for residents. 6 years on, the Commission says it has made notable progress in delivering quality health services across the state. The Special Advisor to the Governor on Health, Professor Simidele Odimayo, commended the Commission's efforts towards improving healthcare delivery and enhancing the well-being of the people.
We are all together to be able to bring to our consciousness the value, the implication, the contribution, and the great strides that Ondo State government has achieved through the Contributory Health Commission. But that can come by virtue of one person doing it. It has been our collective responsibility.
The Commission's Director General, Abiodun Oyeneyin, outlined the achievements recorded so far and reiterated the commitment to expanding access to affordable health care.
In 6 years, Abiyamo scheme has recorded over 55,557 beneficiaries, including both pregnant women and children below the age of 5. 18,305 babies have been delivered, with 5,107 being through cesarean sections. To date, 103,713 enrollees, both public servants and independents, currently have access to medical care in their chosen hospitals, both government and private, across the 18 local governments, and over 1,368 surgeries have been performed in less than 3 years.
He called on residents, especially those in the informal sector, to take advantage of the Orange Health Insurance Scheme to ensure better healthcare access.
The flag of Oranges for the informal sector, which was carried out by His Excellency in September last year, I enjoin all residents of the state to take advantage of this laudable initiative of government to prevent financial hardship while seeking qualitative healthcare services.
In their goodwill messages, stakeholders lauded the Commission for its pivotal role in modernizing the state's healthcare system.
The achievements so far in these last 6 years are mind-blowing. And as a ministry, I want to say that we are proud of you. And because of this, we have decided to continue to give our full support to you.
Has removed that very big barrier. And today, we are one of the success stories in the country.
As the Commission marks its 6th year, its focus remains on delivering accessible, inclusive, and quality health care to residents of Ondo State without the burden of financial hardship. Blessing Obe, Osrc News.
Operatives attached to the Kaduna State Police Command, in collaboration with military personnel, have neutralized 2 armed robbers and apprehended 2 others. For details of this and more, join us again after the break.
Hooray! Niger Delta, it's time to give thanks because the NDDC is 25 and we invite you to join us for a Thanksgiving service to commemorate this celebration. The past 25 years has been a period of great development and milestone achievements for the Commission in all 9 states of our oil-rich region, such as over 5,200 kilometers of roads constructed, over 57,000 solar street lights installed across the region, the 132/33 kV electricity substation in Okitipupa, and many more. For all of these, we have deemed it fit to say thank you to the Lord. Date: Sunday, the 6th of July 2025. Venue: St. Thomas Anglican Church, Akure, with the reception to follow immediately at the Dome International Event Center, Akure, Ondo State. The NDDC, 25 years of making a difference.
Glad to know you're still there. You can watch us live on our website www.osrc.ng or follow us on Facebook at OSRC TV, and on YouTube you can subscribe to our channel OSRC TV Ondo. Now to the rest of the news. In the fast developing Ondo State capital of Akure, setbacks whose vital spaces meant for separate buildings from motorways are increasingly being turned into commercial zones by private individuals. This disturbing trend not only compromises urban development standards, but also raises concerns of enforcement and public compliance. While some encroachers claim they obtained permission from landlords or unnamed government officials, authorities insist most of these activities are illegal, but enforcement efforts are ongoing. Omorola Ogbenji has details.
In urban and semi-urban settings, setbacks are designed not just to enhance a city's visual appeal, but also to support drainage, ensure public safety, and serve as a buffer between buildings and the road. Unfortunately, in Akure, the Ondo State capital, these designated spaces are under threat as they are increasingly being encroached upon by makeshift kiosks, illegal car wash, roadside shops, and even permanent structures. Prominent among them is the high rate of car display on the highway from Roadblock to Alagbaka and other areas. This growing violation not only affects the city's aesthetics, but also undermines safety and disrupts orderly development. Most owners of these illegal structures declined to speak to OSRC, while those who chose to speak anonymously claimed they were granted permission by government officials. Others confessed that the spaces were allocated to them by their landlords, to whom they also pay rent. These claims were refuted by the Permanent Secretary, Ministry of Physical Planning and Urban Development, Oluwagbenga Akingbashote, who said his officers regularly face humiliation and resistance in the process of enforcing the law.
I will point attention to a dualized road along High Court Hospital Road there. You see some people displaying vehicles, and in some cases even different areas. Every time we go there, they promise but fail.
However, he assured the public that government would not relent until order is restored.
We have been serving contravention notices. We served the car wash, we served the people selling automats contravention notices. And anytime from now, we are going to be demolishing, even though they are temporary structures, but they are eyesore to the kind of urban development. That particular place is supposed to be free from all those established structures.
Secretary of Akure Automat Trade Zone, Mr. Olumide Balogun, said the place is spacious and open to all willing traders, adding that there is no distinction between those inside the market and their colleagues outside.
Our former governor, Dr. Lemuniko, built automat for motor dealers, so that all car dealers in town who park arbitrarily in unauthorized places in town, setbacks and other likes, can come to an organized place like this, one of its kind in Africa. Inside those that have their own shops in town, they move back to the town. We are still one. We are still sales motor dealers. We have the same, we attend the same meeting. We have a united meeting that combine us together. But we cannot force them, because government, if it is their choice.
OSRC's camera also captured some dilapidated structures within the trade zone, signaling the need for urgent government intervention to revamp the area and make it more attractive for legitimate business activities. One thing is clear: addressing the issue of setback encroachment will require a multifaceted approach. Strict enforcement by authorities, provision of alternative markets for traders, and sustained public sensitization on the importance of urban planning standards. Omoriola Hungbeji, Osrc News.
In other stories, the Lagos State Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu has urged West and Central African states to forge common safety frameworks and share crucial data and intelligence essential to revolutionize ferry operations in the region. Sanwo-Olu made the appeal at the Regional Ferry Safety Conference organized by the Lagos State Waterways Authority in conjunction with Maritime Organization of West and Central African and Interferry. Governor Sanwo-Olu called for standardized training protocols and innovative technologies that would elevate navigation and emergency response. He said global positioning system, radar automation, and advanced ship designs were not options but essentials to improve ferry safety in the region. The governor noted that Lagos had made substantial investments in modern jetties, ferry terminals, cutting-edge digital monitoring systems, and comprehensive capacity building initiatives, all aimed at safeguarding the residents. House of Representatives has called on the federal government through the National Emergency Management Agency to urgently provide relief materials to families displaced as a result of the recent invasion of Yelwate community, Benue State, by yet-to-be-arrested gunmen. The resolution of the House followed the adoption of a motion of urgent public importance during plenary, sponsored by the member representing Makurdi Goma Federal Constituency, Dixon Takiga. The lawmaker noted that apart from those who lost their lives following the June 14 invasion of 200 of Yelwate community, thousands of residents have been displaced, leading to a dire humanitarian situation marked by loss of lives, destruction of property, and widespread destitution. The House resolved to set up an ad hoc committee to probe instances of violent attacks in Benue State over the past 15 years and come up with recommendations on how to prevent future occurrences. It also mandated the Committee on Interior and Security to immediately visit Yelwate and other affected communities in Goma local government area to assess the situation on the ground and report back with recommendations. Elsewhere in Kaduna State, operatives attached to the State Police Command in collaboration with military personnel have neutralized 2 armed robbers and apprehended 2 others. The incident occurred at Gashi Estate, Banawa, where the hoodlums numbering 8 and armed with locally made pistol and other dangerous weapons invaded a residential compound. The gang reportedly carted away valuables including mobile phones, laptops, wristwatches, gaming consoles, and assorted jewelry. The police public relations officer of the command, Mercer Hassan, in a statement disclosed that the robbers engaged the security operatives in a fierce gun duel, during which 2 of the hoodlums were neutralized, while 2 others were overpowered and arrested, and the remaining members of the gang fled the scene. He reiterated the command's unwavering commitment to maintaining peace and security across the state and urged residents to remain vigilant and report any suspicious activities to the police. Staying with security, following renewed attacks by armed bandits in parts of Kebbi State, the state government has announced plans to review existing laws with a view to imposing the death penalty or life imprisonment on convicted informants aiding bandits. The state governor Nasir Idris stated this when he paid condolence visits to Tadura village in Zuru and Kebbi in Danko Wasago local government areas. The visit followed the recent bandit attack in Taduga and Kebbi, which resulted in the loss of 30 lives. The governor, who described informants as deadly in society, said his administration will never play with the issue of security and will handle it with seriousness. Governor Idris, while expressing concern over the tragedy that resulted in the loss of lives, affirmed his administration's commitment to according top priority to security. Moving on to the foreign scene, no fewer than 1.3 million people die from second-hand smoke every year, according to a World Health Organization WHO report on the global tobacco epidemic 2025. The report released at the World Conference on Tobacco Control in Dublin warned that action is needed to maintain and accelerate progress in tobacco control as rising industry interference challenges tobacco policies and control efforts. The report focuses on the 6 proven WHO Empower tobacco control measures to reduce tobacco use, which claims over 7 million lives a year. The new report is accompanied by a new data portal that tracks country-by-country progress between 2007 and 2025. A total of 110 countries are reported to have failed to run anti-tobacco campaigns since 2022. A South African judge has halted the burial of former Zambian President Edgar Lungu while the funeral service was underway, in an escalation of a standoff between his family and the government. Lungu, who died on June 5 while seeking medical care in South Africa, was a rival of President Hakainde Hichilema, who wanted to lead a state funeral for his predecessor in Zambia. The ex-president's family opposed the plans and blocked his body from being repatriated, saying he would not have wanted Hichilema at his funeral. Zambia in turn filed a lawsuit seeking to stop the burial in South Africa. In the ruling delivered by Lungu's widow, as Lungu's widow and other mourners were already gathered in the church, a Gauteng Region High Court judge said that after an agreement between the parties, the respondents undertook not to proceed with the funeral or burial of the late president until the case is heard on August 4. Let's now turn our attention to Gaza, where at least 40 Palestinians seeking aid have died in new shootings by Israeli forces, raising the total killed in the last 2 weeks in such incidents in the devastated territory to more than 500. Though the fragile ceasefire declared between Israel and Iran has boosted hopes in Gaza that the 20-month-long war in the territory may end soon, there were further Israeli airstrikes and reports of at least 2 incidents involving Israeli troops opening fire on civilians seeking humanitarian assistance. Akintunde Akinshemola tells us more.
Israeli forces have killed dozens of Palestinians in Gaza, many of them waiting to collect aid and ordered new evacuations. Hours after Israel and Iran agreed to a ceasefire in their air war, Gaza's dead and injured were carried into the Al-Shifa Medical Center in Gaza City. 19-year-old Abdullah Al-Najjar said he had gone to get aid from one of the distribution sites run by the U.S. and Israeli-backed Gaza Humanitarian Foundation.
They don't stop shooting, he says. It's food with the taste of blood.
The UN's OHCHR's Human Rights Office said more than 400 Palestinians have so far been killed by the Israeli military while trying to fetch aid from the new distribution sites. They're guided by Israeli forces, and the United Nations reject them as dangerous, inadequate, and violating humanitarian neutrality. Israel's military said a gathering overnight was identified adjacent to forces operating in Gaza's central Nadzam corridor, and it was revealing reports of casualties. Responding for comment, the GFR said in an email that it had not heard of any violent incident near their aid site. The Israel-Iran deal announced by U.S. President Donald Trump raised hopes among Palestinians of an end to 20 months of war. Instead, this Abu Ahmed in Gaza City shows the latest evacuation map on his phone. The Israeli military has ordered a resident to head south in what appears to herald renewed strikes.
Where should we go, he says. Have they freed themselves up after finishing with Iran and now it's our turn?
Sources close to Hamas said there have been some new efforts to resume ceasefire talks with Israel. Akintunde Akinshemola for Osrc News.
Now talking sports, Liam Delap has scored his first Chelsea goal in a 3-0 win over Tunisian champions Esperance, which took the Blues into the last 16 of the Club World Cup. A game played in sweaty conditions at the end of a blistering hot day in Philadelphia was decided by 2 goals in first half stoppage time by Tosin Adarabioyo and Dan Dillon. 3K Judge added the third in injury time at the end of the game in front of more than 32,000 fans at Lincoln Financial Field as Enzo Maresca's side bounced back from a 3-1 loss to Flamengo. Chelsea clinched second place in Group D behind the Brazilian Giants, while Esperance were eliminated. The Premier League outfit will now travel to Charlotte to face Benfica on Saturday, with the Portuguese club having earlier beaten Bayern Munich up to top Group C. And that's the news at 7, but before we go, let's take another look at the major stories. We told you that workers in Ondo State Judiciary have suspended the industrial action they embarked on 2 weeks ago following Governor Aiyedatiwa's intervention. We also told you that 130,000 residents in Ondo State have accessed the Orange Health Insurance Scheme 6 years after its takeoff. The Kaduna State Police Command has gone down 2 suspected robbers in the state capital. And lastly, from the foreign scene, a South African judge has halted the burial of former Zambian President Edgar Lungu. That's the news at 7. Thank you very much for being a part of it. Good evening.